Good morning. Welcome to day 3 of Area and Perimeter e-learning. Our objective today is still going to be about area and perimeter. Today, just kind of going to go backwards. We're going to give you the area and perimeter, and you're going to actually calculate what one of the missing dimensions are. So it's kind of backwards of what we've done the last 2 days. I wanted to start here in my kitchen where we have a stove and a microwave as a real world example of when you might have to do this in the real world. So when we went to get a new microwave and stove, we knew what the width had to be because the width had to be exact to fit in the hole that's there in between the cabinets. And we knew the area. We knew how much space we wanted it to take up. However, the length could vary. As you see, my microwave actually comes a little bit under the cabinets, and it could have been a little higher. The stove could have been a little lower. That kind of varied. So we knew one dimension and we knew the area, and we needed to figure out and calculate what that missing dimension was. So we're going to start over with one of our favorite things. Thank you, Miss Riley M., for supplying these for us. There's a box of Girl Scout cookies. If the entire front of this box, a rectangular quadrilateral box, the whole part with the picture and the green is 28 square inches. And I know that my side here is 7 inches. My length is 7. I want you to pause the video and think about how did you calculate area yesterday? And if you're going backwards from that, how would you calculate what this missing side is today? So since we multiplied to get area, we're going to do the opposite operation, which is going to be division. Now, you might not quickly know that off the top of your head, so you could skip count if you needed to. You could also draw pictures if you needed to do that. 7, 14, 21, 28 is counting by sevens, and there are 4 groups there. So 28 divided by 7 is 4, which means for our Girl Scout cookies, the missing dimension here must be 4. And in order to check my work, I'm going to think to myself, is 7 times 4 28? 7 inches, 4 inches, that would be 28 square inches. We made it. Next, we'll go into the hallway. Did want to show you that your fishies are still doing okay. Even though Jeremiah has not been here to feed them. Jeremiah, I promise I've been feeding them every day. This is a picture in our hallway. We have a collage of pictures. And this is one of my graduations from USF when I got my master's degree to come teach you. So we're going to do the same thing with this one. I've given you the width of 11 inches. And I've given you the whole area. So again, we're going to think about, okay, when we calculate area, when we know the dimensions, we multiply. So if we're working backwards and we're doing the opposite, that's going to be division. So we're going to take that 99 and we're going to divide it by 11. Again, you could skip count. 11, 22, 33. And that would give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 groups. So the missing dimension on our hallway picture must be 9 inches. And again, I'm thinking to myself, 11 inches times 9 inches. That makes sense when I'm saying, yeah, that looks a little bit longer than this one. And then 11 times 9 is definitely 99. So that works. So next we're going to go into our spare bathroom. And I think there's a sign in here that we probably all could use a little bit. Hopefully you are relaxing. So on this sign, I didn't give you any dimensions. None. All I'm telling you is that this is a square and that the area of the square is 64 inches. So we have to think about, what do we know about a square? What do we know about division with 64? And what do we know about area? Pause the video and see if you can somehow calculate, without me giving you any dimensions, what those dimensions must be. So I'm going to pretend that I just have no idea, which absolutely happens a lot. So if I'm going to draw a model, I'm just going to take a guess. Let's just try something. Let's see if 10 will work. And because this is a square, and I'm doing area, and area equals length times width. So if I did 10 times 10, you know I love 10s because those usually come to us pretty quick. That would be 100. Well, I'm not too far away. I need to get down to 68, so that means I went too high. So let's try again. Let's try 7. So if area is length times width, and I have a 7 times a 7, that's going to get me to 49. Well, this went too low, and that was too high. So good news, it has to be between 7 and 10. So we'll go up 1 from 7 and try 8. Area is length times width, so that would be 8 times 8, which, woohoo, equals 64. So that relaxed sign must have had dimensions of 8 inches and 8 inches. Now that we've done a little bit of area, where I've given you the area and then you calculate the sides, we're going to flip over. I'm going to flip over my paper. We're going to try some perimeter. So kind of switching gears here in the same video. So this sign here in my kitchen, I think we've all had a hangry day before. Hopefully you are not having any right now. This sign, the width I calculated, or I measured this morning, was 14 inches, which means that the top is also 14 inches. Now here's where it gets different. I'm not giving you those lengths. I'm giving you the 38 inches that goes all the way around the perimeter. So we first have to think about, okay, how did we calculate perimeter? And if we're going to work backwards, how would that work? I will warn you, I want you to pause the video and try it. There are multiple steps in this one. So pause and see if you can try. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to see, what do we have so far? What do we know? We know that we have a top and a bottom of 14. That we're sure of. So let's add those together and see how much we get so far. So far we have 28. Our whole perimeter is 38. And so far we have 28. So we need to see how many more we need, which would be subtraction. Now, everybody wants to say, sweet, I did all of this work, I'm done. The side must be 10. I know, we think it must be 10, but let's look back again. So we have 14 and 14, and we just found out that we still have 10 left. But how many sides do we still have left? 2. So we actually have to take that 10, and we've got to split it up. And in math, when we split things up evenly, we divide them. And since we have 2 sides, and we had 10 left, we're going to take that 10 we had left and divide it into those 2 sides, which would be 5. Now, for the perimeter, since they take so many multiple steps, I like to go back and really just make sure. And say, okay, let me see if this makes sense. 14, 14, 5, and 5. So I'm going to then add all those up. And taking the advice of Evan from the video that he already turned in, I'm going to split those and do them separately. and then bring them together. Thank you, Evan, for that advice. Does this match the original perimeter? Yeah. If you had done that with that 10, you would have found that you actually got a number much higher. Well, you would have got 48. You would have gotten 10 too high. So always going back and checking, having a way to make sure that it actually makes sense is great. So now we will walk into the living room where we have a bookshelf. And of course, Easter bunnies. Can you tell they are everywhere? I might be obsessed with Easter bunnies. So this is a rectangle, and we can still calculate the area and perimeter even though the space is open inside. That's still an area. That's an area of open space. But for this one, we're going to stick with perimeter. I'll come a little closer so you can see that the bottom width and the top width are 17 inches. And the entire perimeter is 60 inches. So based on those two numbers that I'm giving you, if you'll pause the video and try to find what must this length and this length be. So again, I'm going to take what I know. I know that I have a top width and a bottom width of 17. And I want to put those together. Let's figure out what all we have so far. So far we have 34. If you remember, we needed, what did we need? Let's go back in and check. We need 60 inches. Miss Harwood's memory at 6 a.m. in the morning isn't so great. Aren't you happy to know that we still make errors even when we're on e-learning? I hope you know that. So we said 60. And then we're going to have to take away what we already have to find out how many more do we need. Oh, here we go. We have some regrouping we have to do here because, of course, if I'm jumping into this subtraction problem, I'm coming from the top. And if I have 0 cupcakes, can I eat 4? No, I actually have 0 cupcakes and I wish I could eat 4, but I can't. So I'm going to have to go to the tens place and take away one of their 10s. And I'm going to bring that 10 that I took away over here. Now I have 10 cupcakes. Can I eat 4? Yeah, sounds good to me. And now that means I would have 6 left over. And then our 5 take away 3, the 50 take away 30 is going to be 26. Now again, if we stop here and we just say that that one side is 26, we totally left out that other side. We have to divide it. Because we have 17, 17, and then we have to split that 26 between the two sides. So we're going to have to split up 26 divided by 2. Now I know some of you could do that in your head, or we could skip count. 2, 4, so that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 groups, which means 13 times 2 is 26, which means each side must be 13 inches. And the last one for today, as an example, is our picture in our foyer. So what I've done is I measured in the bottom, even though it's on the side here, the bottom measurement, bottom width, is 41 inches. And the entire perimeter is 142 inches. So if you'll pause the video and try to decide if this is 41 and this is 41, what must those two lengths be? I will zoom back in so you can see those numbers. So again, I'm going to take what I know, and I know that my top and bottom width were 41, and that's going to give me 82. So I'm going to take that 82, and I need to take it away from whatever that full number was. And that was 142. So this is the entire perimeter, and this is the top and bottom. So I'm going to subtract. I can do 2 take away 2. And here, again, if we are jumping into that subtraction problem, if I have 4 10s, I can't take away 8. So I'm going to have to go regroup, take away all their hundreds. That 4 is now turning into a 14, representing 140. 14 take away 8 is 60. And now remember, we have one more step. Because if we drew that model, we have 41, 41. That 60 can't go there. We've got to split the 60 between the two sides. And splitting up again is division. Now you could pause now and skip count. You could do one of your other strategies that we've learned for division. You could try to figure out what two things add together to get 60. I am going to go this way and look at my base numbers and say 6 divided by 2. I can do that in my head. And then because I didn't divide by another 0, I'm bringing that one over. If you wanted to check it. And sure enough, 30 times 2, or 30 plus 30 is 60. So each of my sides must be 30 inches. So that has been today's lesson. You do not have to go around today and do this. I'll have the instructions of the sheet that I'll want you to do a little later. Did want to show you, since she has not been in the video yet, she is showing you what not to do during these lessons. I don't know if you can hear her snoring, but she is sleeping through the math lessons. The first day she was entertained. By day 3, she is over mom not talking to her. So hopefully, if you need to do what she's doing and take a nap, go take a nap and come back, but please don't sleep during my math lesson. Oh, yeah. You guys have a good day. Thank you so much for doing all the hard work you're doing.